Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Chaos Head. And where we left off in the last episode, we finally got a glimpse into the conspiracy by none other than the Nozomi Corporation, or more specifically, three people affiliated with them, whether or not they actually belong to Nozomi, or whether they are actually the controllers pulling the strings behind the company. Those three men are going to be very, very important. And in fact, it could very well be that they themselves are the true orchestrators of the new gen incidents that have been taking place in Shibuya. However, if that is the case, or rather, even if that is the case, it's going to be very hard for the regular authorities to arrest them and bring them to justice. Especially considering the fact they apparently have wheels within wheels. They were talking about things such as G-rates in Shibuya, manipulating people's biorhythms, and most importantly, something known as Project Noah. Whatever it is, it's going to have very dire ramifications for the city of Shibuya. Meanwhile, Takumi is tired after binging himself on Ensu, putting an end to the memory of him and Nanami eating clementines together. And when I say together, I probably think that Nanami most likely ate most of the clementines that she supposedly brought Takumi as a gift. It's 5 in the morning when I check my PC clock, biting back a yawn. 5 a.m. Hopefully this isn't a school day, because if that is the case, then you do not have long to sleep. Today too I'd spent ages hunting an Ensu, but no monsters had dropped the rare item I'd been looking for. No success, even after pulling an 8-hour marathon. Well, but this kind of thing happened a lot. I glanced quickly at the side of my desk. There leaned the D-sword I brought yesterday. I left it close enough that I could take it up any time, though there's probably not much point in that, because it's nothing more than a replica rather than the real thing. On a side note, the sword didn't radiate any light whatsoever. I was hoping that sooner or later it would metamorphose into one with as cool a shape as Senna's, but inside my monitor, Grimm's avatar happened to be right in the middle of leveling up. My Night Heart had reached the maximum level, so it wouldn't be going any higher. Rubbing my sleepy eyes, I thought to myself that maybe it was getting to be time for me to create my next character, the third after Lizelet. Or Lizelot, sorry. Experience points. Huh. It was a familiar concept in RPGs, but I felt experience points also just existed in real life. When I first started Ensu, even I was a baby who didn't know right from left, but now I was the strongest in Balazad. Or Basilad, sorry. I think I've been pronouncing that wrong this whole time. It's meant to be Basilad. With my name Lightning Fast Nightheart known anywhere. That is true. For example, it wasn't unthinkable that the person behind me might, by chance, happen to lose some of the experience points he'd built up. That can happen in some RPGs. What can be gained can ultimately be lost. Then maybe it would be all too natural for me to forget things I'd known. Maybe the fuzziness in my memories could be traced back to the same source. I don't think memory loss and the experience points go hand in hand there. And then there was Shogun and the Demon Girl. Before my experience points got cleared, perhaps it'd been normal for me, the person behind me, to post under the handle of Shogun in chats, and to spend time in real life with the demon girl, with Rimi. No, that was certainly improbable. You never know. But in the past I might have possessed the power capable of letting me square off with that demon girl. Unfortunately, reincarnation isn't a valid theory, unfortunately. In this instance, anyway. Was I the only person who had thoughts like this? Although I also felt it like it wasn't a particularly strange or mysterious way of thinking. Because the only things that human beings have to go by are the fundamental standards that they've come up with all their own. Maybe even now not just me, but everyone in the whole world, was judging everything wrong while living out my day-to-day life. That is certainly a possibility. When I was little and went to the dentist, he told me, "You're a good boy for putting up with so much pain." At the time, it made me think I was kind of amazing for enduring all the pain all the way through, and I simply became proud of myself. But pride can ultimately become hubris. Thinking back on it now, however, that comment had probably been based on judging the degree of pain by the relative progression of the cavity. But even with the exact same level of pain, there might be those who could bear it and those who couldn't. In other words, I suspected that people might be utterly different in how they recognized and experienced such sensations. That is an interesting observation. Take giving birth, for example. Online, I've often seen people saying that though women are able to hold out through the pain of labor, it would be inherently impossible for men. Take marathon runners, for instance. Maybe they excel not because of the power of their bodies, but instead because of their ability to endure pain. Take sadists and masochists, for instance. If there are those who enjoy hurting others, then there are also those who feel pleasure when others hurt them, and that is grim. In short, I figured the way that people felt things, and the strength of their inner nature, their ability to put up with it, varied from person to person. Perhaps the level of pain and the toothaches and headaches I endured from time to time far surpassed the range of an ordinary person could take. If I passed through the same level of pain on, sorry, and if I passed the same level of pain on to someone else, the agony of it would make them go into shock and die. The conclusion this led me to was the selfish delusion that maybe I was a very special type of human being.
特殊な人間か。っていうか、何を大げさな。
That's a very good question. Though I've rejected that idea. Surely everyone had these kind of delusions. But you have no idea. But I digress. Every man longs to be the strongest in the world. Everyone wants to think that they're special, that they've been chosen. They want to think that a dramatic, stormy life, like in TV shows and movies, is awaiting them in their future. It was the so-called yearning to be a hero. To put it more crudely, being self-centered. Of course, I too had those kinds of desires. Indeed, it might be my destiny to defeat the demon girl. Then if I were to carry that out in real life, I'd require that a number of conditions be met first. At least, the one thing I really needed was the ability to use cheat codes for stuff like secret attacks or perhaps invincible mode. I didn't want to undergo any pain or fear. Unfortunately, Takumi, real life does not work with cheat codes, or rather, cheat codes do not work in real life. If I couldn't do that, if in other words I was supposed to do it with my own power, I definitely wouldn't. Unfortunately, you probably won't have a choice, although it might not come to that. Which is why, if the person behind me accidentally let my experience points get wiped, it could cause me tremendous damage. Yet another day at Suimei Academy. Today I got to school just in time not to be late. I guess it was indeed unreasonable to play online games till morning on a day when I had school. I wouldn't have made it if I hadn't run. Okay, so Takumi pretty much is going to be very much unprepared for the rest of the day after all. When I reached the front of my classroom, I breathed deeply to collect myself. I mustn't do anything to draw my classmates' attention. For me, coming home late would be coming late would be a fatal mistake. My life would implode as soon as some juvie had set his eyes on me. I eased my way into the classroom. My face was lowered. I mustn't lock eyes with anyone. Of course, I didn't give them any kind of thoughtless greeting like, "Good morning." I turned myself in the air so as to make the others pick up on my existence as little as possible, and headed for my seat. Something tells me that strategy isn't going to work forever. I always did things the same way. And today as well, I made it to my seat without encountering any problems, and lowered myself into it. I soon plastered myself flat against my desk. At this rate I'd be safe until homeroom started. But I only relaxed for a breath until someone tapped me lightly on the back. 3 guesses as to who that person might be.
よ、タク。今週は3回も学校来てんじゃねえか。真面目だな。
And they were all right. All 3 of those guesses was Daisuke, of course. Didn't think it would be anyone else, did you? But it seems like even he now has Takumi's attendance schedule memorized as well. Of course, Takumi is clearly in no mood to interact with anyone right now. Mizumi-kun again. So that is, I don't know why I keep calling him Mikumi or something or other. I keep messing up his last name. Though I was kind of sick of him, I felt bad ignoring him, so I started to raise my head and hesitated. Of course. The phone call while Rimi was at the container house. Was this Mizumi-kun the real one? The day before yesterday I'd done as the demon girl had told me and called him. At the time he'd acted undeniably strange. To begin with, he'd answered by saying that the demon girl was our classmate, as if this were perfectly normal, even though I knew it wasn't so. Maybe the demon girl had brainwashed the current Mizumi-kun. On the contrary, there was also the possibility that she had switched him with someone else, which is only a possibility at this point. Not impossible, but certainly improbable.
おい、どうした？早くも爆睡モードか？
It's been a long 8-hour marathon, Daisuke. An electronic sound suddenly rang through the classroom. I sensed a faint vibration near my chest. It could only be Takumi's cell phone. Yes, indeed. Shit, now of all the times. What kind of idiot would call at a time like this? On top of that, even though I was sure I set it to vibrate, the ringtone was ringing at the same time. I might have messed up the settings.
お、鳴ってるぞ、タク。
I know that much. Should I hurry up and answer it? But if I did, Mizumi-kun would know that I'd only been pretending to sleep. Besides, I don't like talking on the phone. Except, if I didn't pick it up, it would bother the rest of the class. Judging how my ringtone was reverberating throughout the classroom right now, things were pretty damn bad. I wasn't supposed to stand out. This was incredibly bad. As I said before, it wasn't going to last forever.
おーい、出ないのか？マジで寝てる？
Shit. While I wavered over what to do, I'd completely lost my chance. I couldn't move. Just then, the sound and vibration died down. I must have switched the voicemail. I let out a relieved breath in such a way as to keep Mizumi-kun from catching me at it. He probably already suspects, I'd wager. I've been right to learn how to use voicemail. Well, that's good that you figured out that much at least.
なあタク、相手は誰だ？まさか女か？この前一緒に帰ったあのメガネの子だろ。そうなんだろ？
No, Daisuke, it's not Yua, and the less we speak about her, the better. Damn it, you are so noisy. Please don't do anything more to interfere with me, because that phone call already made me stand out as much more than I should have. Had Mizumi-kun always been this persistent? Possibly. Though his forwardness remained the same, I felt he'd been a little bit more sensitive in the past.
やめなよ。
And here I was about to drink another sip of decaf coffee, but we know that voice. We know it quite well. I heard that voice from close by Mizumi-kun. The one voice that Takumi Nishijo did not want to hear in the classroom.
そっとしておいてあげたら、大臣。
And if to cement that thought, there's the nickname.
なんだか疲れてるみたいだし。
She was in this classroom as though it were natural for her to be here, even though we have not interacted with her in the slightest up until a short while ago.
どうせゲームのやりすぎだろ。お前、タクに甘すぎるぜ。
だって大臣は女の敵だし、そういう人には優しくしません。
I think that's one point against you, Daisuke. She was chatting away as though it were natural for her to do so. She was blending in as though it were natural for her to belong with us. I was too horrified to raise my head. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact that she was here.
ま、別にお前に優しくしてもらわなくても、俺には優しくしてくれる女はたくさんいるんだよ。
だから、そういう発言が良くないんだってば。 彼女さんが聞いたら泣くよ。今の大臣の彼女が誰だかわかんないけど。ほら、
There's the bell.
チャイム鳴った。先生来るよ。
And I was beaten to the punch. Had the demon girl truly been my classmate from the beginning? No, that was impossible. 2 days ago she hadn't been here. At least the only person who had come to talk with me that day was Mizumi-kun. Yesterday I hadn't come to school. And today she was here. How? Had she wormed her way in? When the chimes signaling the start of Homeroom rang, everyone took their own seats. Sensing that, I gingerly raised my head. I surveyed my surroundings with my eyes alone. I wanted the voice from earlier to have been an illusion. To prove that to myself, I had to make sure that girl wasn't anywhere in this classroom. I didn't see her. I didn't see that girl's form anywhere. Had she been an hallucination after all? Possibly, though there's still a sort of, call it a niggling at the back of my mind. My seat was in the 5th row from the front. There were 9 rows in total. She wasn't in any of the rows in front of me, which meant behind me? Ah, that would explain much, and it also means that Takumi Nishijo is about to lose the game again. But I couldn't turn around. I couldn't do something so likely as to catch others' attention. It'll take more than that to have him look around, it seems. He might win this time, and again, maybe not. Shit, I felt incredibly fidgety. Was she really in here, or not? Unfortunately, you're running out of time. My neck muscles weren't prickling. No one was looking at me. I didn't feel a gaze. That's definitely a relief. Was she? Wasn't she? Which one? Staring steadily down the top of my desk, I attempted to search out that girl's existence by her presence alone. Right then, I heard the sound of our homeroom teacher entering the classroom. I'd forgotten his name. I had the feeling it had been something like Tsukaji or Tsukada. Not that you'd care even if you did remember. He was a PE teacher who graduated from a PE college, a total musclehead. But he wasn't hot-blooded and didn't use corporal punishment. If I had to put it one way or the other, I'd say he was the type to get a joke. That's always good to hear. For some reason, the class had started going into a commotion. But at the moment, my attention was completely occupied by seeking out the demon girl. And yet we can't look behind. Like I could possibly detect her through her presence alone. This wasn't a manga. Was I fooled or what?
今日から転校生が入ることになった。
Come to think of it, we've actually heard news of a transfer student. However, that news came from a certain someone. The teacher muttered. I see. That was the reason there had been a fuss. At least we can put our previous trepidation on the back burner for now.
ほら、折原。
みんなに挨拶しろ。
Whoever the transfer student is, they're not saying a word. I hadn't heard the transfer student speak. Is there really someone there? I cast a look at the teacher's podium. And there she is. And, that was the girl burning her possessions in the incinerator. Not that Takumi would know about that. There was someone there, no doubt about it. She was remarkably small, maybe even more of a runt than Nanami. She's in this class, so she was the moe type who looked a little timid and gave off an aura of having been bullied. I'd say she reached the so-so level for a 3D girl. For some reason she was facing down, and the corners of her eyes were full of tears. My classmate's commotion increased in response due to the fact that she wasn't trying to say anything. Our teacher patted her on the shoulder considerately. I think this transfer student is shy.
どうやら折原は緊張しているようだな。よし、挨拶はいい。
Well, at least we have a name, or albeit a surname, Orihara.
みんな、この子は折原梢だ。仲良くしてやってくれ。
Okay, we have a full introduction there. Kozue Orihara.
折原、席は一番後ろだ。席についていいぞ。
Without saying a single word, the transfer student bowed her head and began walking my way. Her seat was 4 rows behind mine. I wondered if I should pretend to watch the transfer student walk to the back in order to check the faces of the people in the rows behind me. It's going to cost us the game. It will take more than that to make me turn round, but well, pride be damned at this point. But that itself would be fairly attention-grabbing behavior. There was also the dread that delinquents might start a meaningless fight with me, saying, "Don't start drooling over the transfer student just because you think she's cute." What should I do? Should I turn around, or would it be better to wait until Homeroom ended? I'm going to get another chance otherwise. I hung my head and clenched my fists. It was no good. I didn't have the guts to do it. What if I turned around and my eyes met that girl's? The thought of it made me shudder.
この人、似てる。
Wait, what the? She said that, but her voice had undoubtedly reached my ears. The transfer student had passed close by my desk. Maybe she was actually talking to Takumi. Huh. Before I knew it, I'd unconsciously raised my face. The transfer student passed by my desk for the barest of seconds, but she didn't turn towards me.
同じクラスでよかった。
She could be murmuring either to herself or Takumi, but there is something strange here that I actually cannot quite put my finger on. That was all. The transfer student soon retreated further and further away from my seat. Had she been speaking to me? Why'd she started talking to me all of a sudden? That's a very good question. But whatever the case, she seems to think that Takumi and she have something in common, probably their respective personalities and their inability to deal with people. I resembled her. She was glad we were in the same class. Had we met once before? No, I had absolutely no recollection of her face. That, in and of itself, is truth. Unlike certain Roje, I didn't have a childhood friend I played together with in the distant past. Was I becoming popular with girls after all? That's Daisuke's thoughts there. Or else, was that transfer student too one of the demon girl's subordinates? If so, the dragnet had tightened around me yet again. I was in the midst of running out of places to flee to. Homeroom came to a sudden end. While I thought frantically about the new doubts that had arisen in my head. There were about 5 minutes until the first period class started. Mizumi-kun was charging towards the transfer student's seat. Looked like he meant to start hitting on her out of left field, in his usual fashion, it seems. My other classmates also seemed deeply interested in her, and the classroom had grown more wild and boisterous than usual. At a glance, it appeared to be a nonchalant, peaceful tableau. Interesting way of putting it. But to me it was virtually the same as being behind enemy lines. My heartbeat wouldn't calm down. My whole body was tense, and it took immense courage for me to move even a single finger. My impulse to turn around toward with my reason, which told me I mustn't.
Taku?
Oh dear. There is that ominous voice again. I almost stopped breathing. The inside of my head went pure white. I heard a voice from close behind me. She really was here. She existed in this place.
具合悪そうだけど平気？
Run. You gotta run. You gotta run. No matter how I thought it, my legs were trembling, and it didn't seem like I'd be able to stand up well. I stayed frozen. The demon girl, Rimi Sakihata, circled around in front of my desk.
汗びっしょり。風邪でもひいたんじゃない？
In other words, I think most of the times that we've been here, she has been sitting in the desk right behind Takumi this whole time. Though that said, there were, as Takumi noted, certain days that she hasn't been there. In the same way as 2 days ago, she spoke to me as though she were worried for me. In the same way as 2 days ago, she held out a handkerchief with a soft floral scent to it. Instead of accepting it, I hastily wiped my sweat with my hand.
なんて。
何？
I couldn't meet her eyes, though I could tell from the tone of her voice that she was smiling.
ねえねえ、さっき何話してたの？
Rimi crouched in place so her eyes were on the same level as mine, and propped her chin up on her hands. She took a peek at my face. I desperately averted my eyes. Damn it, she seemed determined not to let me escape. My anxiety threatened to tear open my heart. Somebody save me.
すっごく気になる。
What was she talking about? Who had said what to me? And already Takumi has already forgotten about Kozue.
転校生。
Not for long.
あの子がタクの机の横を通るときに小声でさ、ボソボソーっと。この人似てる。 同じクラスでよかった。もしかしてあの子と知り合い？
So Rimi is echoing Takumi's earlier thoughts. Rimi was still smiling. Or was it my imagination that her voice had started shifting into more of a demanding tone? Like she was interrogating me?
タコってリアルの女の子に興味ないんじゃなかったっけ？もしかして本当は興味あるの？
That is an interesting way of phrasing that there, Rimi Sakihata. What do you plan to do after asking that? Did you mean to pump me for personal information and then abuse it? To begin by stating the conclusion, I'm not interested in 3D girls. I'd always said that sourly.
じゃあさ、私にも実は興味あったりする？
That's only going to make things a lot worse. A chill that ran down my back. Though I just wiped it, fresh sweat sprang up on my forehead. Had that been advance notice that she would kill me? Or was the demon girl inviting me to become her comrade? Or else did she intend to seduce me and trap me by acting moe? The danger signals rang on and on my head. Don't talk with the demon any longer, otherwise she'll destroy me.
タク？
I was frantic. I managed to stand up hastily and dash out the classroom, running into other people's desks here and there along the way. Well, looks like we're making a retreat. And well, we've made it to the school roof, though I'm loath to call it a sanctuary because there is no way down from here. This is literally a dead end, so good job, Takumi. But, however, in any event, this is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Head. And when we return, I'll just have to wait and see how Takumi Nishijo gets out of this particular predicament. If he can. As always, until next we meet.